The world is changing. IT, tech, innovation, and AI are becoming part of our daily lives that is starting to become harder every day to avoid it. However, there is one thing all these things have in common: English. Do you speak? Do you understand English?
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
If yes, you are sitting on a gold mine of skills. With over 2 billion people trying to learn this very language to improve and change their lives. It's crazy though, English isn't even the most spoken language, yet it's the most dominating language for the future. Deciding to be a teacher is really a big deal. And it's also an awesome way to travel the world and get paid for it. Even if you're being selfish, what you're doing by teaching others English is helping change other people's lives for the better. Because you're giving so many people access to this new world, the opportunities most don't get at all. And if you're a believer in God, you can rest well knowing that you're doing God's work and helping so many people along the way. So to answer a common question, why English is still so important even now, is simply because it is the future. And you have the ability to share this skill with other people, which will help them improve their life and give them opportunities they wouldn't have had otherwise. And at the same time, you're able to travel the world and see a whole lot of new cool stuff. And for you guys trying to make some extra cash, or you have to stay home or near home, it allows you to teach online and start creating an income that doesn't require you to do a long commute. So what is the best option for you, abroad or online? It really depends on what you're trying to do. So let's look at the first one, teaching online. Teaching online allows a flexibility of your own time and where and when you actually work. Honestly, you can work anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. You could literally travel abroad and just teach online. Plus, the big one is there's no commute to work anymore. You don't have to drive to a classroom. You don't have to go to a school. You don't have to wake up an hour early to do something. You just open your laptop and get to work. Teaching online also allows a large range of students, or at least potential students, from all over the world. Which ideally just means if you are doing good at what you do, you have an endless supply of students. You can create and manage your own schedule so it doesn't interfere with your other commitments that you already have. And the best part of all this, the buy-in to start teaching online is really low. Like seriously, really low. As in, you can get as cheap as just having a phone and an iPad, and that's all you need. But what about teaching abroad? Teaching abroad does have some upfront costs, unlike teaching online. But with that cost, it gives you the opportunity to see different countries, see new worlds, experience different cultures, different foods, and meet different people you would have never normally met. Plus, the memories you make while you're traveling abroad will last a lifetime. And the whole time, you're getting paid for it. So how do you get started teaching English abroad or online? Let's talk about the qualifications. To teach English legally, there are some qualifications you're gonna need to meet. These requirements may vary depending on the country or the platform online that you want to teach on. One of the most common qualifications is a TEFL certification of 120 hours. And don't worry, you're not gonna spend 120 hours doing anything. It's just part of the name for some reason. Most countries will also require you to have a bachelor's degree in any subject. Now, if you're not a native Western speaker, you will have to have your 4-year degree in English itself. For you guys that have a master's degree or a PhD, this will give you a better shot to get in international schools or even get work at a university and enjoy higher salary pays. So what is the purpose of these degrees in a TEFL in the first place? Simply put, to get a work permit and a temporary residency card. So you're able to stay in the country long term and maintain that job. In general though, you should already have your bachelor's degree and a TEFL before you even consider flying out. Everything else that's required, you could usually just do it here in the country you're going to. And I know a lot of you guys watch this probably don't even have a degree, but you want to teach abroad. As of now, not a lot of countries are talking about removing that requirement, as university is starting to become less of a common thing to go to in a Western culture. As of right now, if you're coming to Asia, Cambodia is the country that doesn't require a university degree. As long as you have a TEFL, you can get a work permit in Cambodia and work there long term. And honestly, Cambodia is a great place because you're in the middle of Southeast Asia, so you get all the benefits from being in that location, the cost of living, and the experience of living in Asia just like anybody else that has a degree. But what about online teaching? A lot of platforms will take you without a degree. Places like Italki, for example, will let you teach without a degree. You just need to have your TEFL, and they will just mark your account as a tutor rather than a teacher. This usually affects how much money you'll get paid per hour, but past that, you're still allowed to teach online. And this is if you go through a platform. You have the ability to teach yourself outside of these platforms, and a degree wouldn't even be brought up in a conversation. If you look below, check the link for iVisa. put in the country where you plan on going to, and then put in the country where you're coming from, and just hit search. It will break down all the documents that you'll need to actually get a work permit or a business visa there. These are things that you need to have processed, set up, and pretty much in your bag before you come out here. When you first wanted to start teaching abroad, what were you searching for online? Lesson plans, activities, topics, ages of classrooms, where to teach, or was it the pay? Most likely the pay, right? The best way to get the most out of it is to have your paperwork in order, dress for the job, smile, and be confident, and this will definitely work in your favor. Remember, the salaries that you see on these posts or job postings are just an invitation for you to come in there. They're never set in stone. And also having a strong CV that shows your relative work to this job, as well as proven track record, is going to be a nice thing to have. I used to work for a couple schools back in 2018 and 2020 where I went through Western CVs and I knew what these schools were looking for to hire. And oddly enough, it wasn't always about the face color. It was actually the credentials that meant a lot more. If you want to know how to make a CV that will crush it in Asia, let me know below in the comments and I'll make a video going step by step on how to make a CV in Asia that will get you hired. Now, when you do get accepted for an interview, most schools are going to want you to do a demo lesson. So it's important to have a strong base of how to run a classroom, including a large amount of activities or games to use in your class. So you're going to want to have a solid lesson plan that can last between 30 to 60 minutes. My advice on the lesson plan is to make a generic one that's not really focused on a subject, but just has ideas on what you should do at different times of your lesson. And you can just plug in the subject where it needs to be. If you've already written a lesson plan that's dedicated to a subject and they give you something different, it can make things a bit challenging for you. Now, if you're like me years ago, I was clueless on how to write a lesson plan or even what activities to do, let alone do this stuff on the fly. If you check below, I put together a book on lesson plans and activities. These were tested through myself and other teachers. Check the books below and get those downloaded. Those will help you out a tremendous amount. You have to have activities and games. They want it to be fun. It's not so much about textbook work, it's about having fun. So ideally, when you go to these demo classes, you want to over prepare and have a generic lesson plan with some activities. So whatever they throw at you, you'll be able to crush it, because this interview is going to make or break you. If you decide to go through online for teaching, it's important to focus on the customer base that you're trying to teach rather than the school that you're trying to apply for. The big secret to starting teaching online is advertising and writing to the customer base you want to focus on, rather than just posting general stuff that already thousands of people are already teaching online. You need to stand out from the rest. You are not just limited to speaking basic English. As we said before, you can focus on reading, writing, business communication, you name it, create that focus. For example, highlighting your last 10 years of experience working as a business manager, editing reports, IT experience, or international or management skills are all traits that people want and need to learn. I would say about 70% of the students I've ever taught online needed some type of non-introduction English subject on how to create documents in English that the Western using. And a very common one in Vietnam for me was just how to do the interview process for immigration. Remember, over 2 billion people are trying to learn English and not just focusing on hello, what's your name, how old are you? So find out your niche, and that's where you want to create your online English teaching classes from. This will make you stand out above a lot of other teachers, but the ones that are specific on business or grammar usually charge double the fee and they get a lot more customers. So we've talked about online and teaching abroad, how to get it done, what you need, stuff like that. But what can we do right now to get you started and even closer by tomorrow? Seriously. If you have the same bad habit I do of reading motivational books, watching motivational videos,
Yo quiero Taco Bell,
and then going to the store, buying a pizza and sitting on the couch and doing nothing, we have something in common and it's not very good. Knowledge without action holds no weight. So I asked the community last week why so many of you are not already teaching abroad that want to. And we know what needs to be done. But let's stop, let's sit down, let's make a to-do list so we can get this stuff done, not this week, but now. Step 1, decide where you want to go and what is required. Decide where you're going to go and teach English or what platforms you want to teach online. For you guys that are traveling abroad, check that link below, the iVisa, and start doing your research. Put the country you're from and where you decide to go. It will break down what you need for a work permit. Work permits are pretty much the same for teachers, engineers, anything. Know what you need to have. Step 2, get your online TEFL done this weekend. Seriously, no more excuses, guys. Get it done over this weekend. Like I said, there is no 120 hours, it's just part of the name. Watch the videos included or read the PDFs that are provided in the lessons. Pass all the mini tests. I believe there's like 12 or 13, it's been a while. Write your final lesson plan. And then in a few days after it's been approved and everything is done, you'll get a certification in your email that is certified through the Education Department of Thailand and accepted all over Asia. And then within a few weeks, you'll get the physical one in the mail. It's not that hard, guys, over the weekend. So click that link below and get that TEFL done. Step 3, start making copies of all your required documents. I suggest making copies of your degrees as well and laminating them. Many schools will hold on to them for some time. And in that rare chance, if they ever lose them, damage them, or if they try to hold it as ransom as blackmail, you won't be that concerned as it's just a photocopy of your real degree. The only ones that should be using and holding your real actual documents are your embassies, not schools. And also, don't forget to make digital copies and upload them to your iCloud or your Google Drive, whatever you're using. Have a digital version of it so you can access it from your phone whenever something comes up. Step 4, planning your packing and your exit plan. So you've got your documents done, you've got your TEFL, you know where you're going, you know what is required. Now we need to start packing your stuff. We need to start figuring out where we're going to put things we're leaving behind, and we need to start figuring out our exit plan. Quitting jobs, telling family, leaving the girlfriend, whatever you're doing. We need to start creating that exit plan and get ready. We should already have our plane ticket, or at least starting to buy it at this step, so we know when we are leaving and what needs to be done. When you do pack, decide and find out what the weather is like where you're going, and just pack for that season. Once you get to that country, trust me, it will be much cheaper to buy the clothes and cosmetics and everything that you need to buy when you get to these countries. So ideally, just pack like a minimalist until you get there. Then you can just buy to your heart's content. So there you have it, your 4 steps on how you can get started today to get things going and the ball rolling today. You have to start doing this stuff if you're serious. Don't sit there and think, don't sit there and say one day, just do it. Your head's into it, your heart's into it, you're gonna do it. So don't delay. You already got your list. Start doing this stuff today. And once you finish step 1, I want you to come back to this video, hit it on your bookmark, whatever it is, and I want you to leave below, where do you want to go? What country? And why did you pick that country? I am honestly curious where everybody is going. But for now, I'm gonna get out of here and I will see you again.